What if the most dangerous truths about power weren't hidden, but simply ignored? Niccolò Machiavelli is often reduced to a name whispered with suspicion, a symbol of cold ambition, deception, and ruthlessness. But most people have never read him, and fewer still have truly understood him. The real Machiavelli wasn't just a political strategist, he was a dark philosopher, a man who saw human nature not through ideals, but through war, betrayal, and failure. His lessons weren't meant to be comfortable, they were meant to be effective, and that's why they were buried. Not literally, of course, you can still buy The Prince, but the core of his philosophy, the forbidden part, is what you're never meant to fully apply. Because if you did, you'd see through the illusion of morality that keeps society in line. You'd stop believing that kindness always wins, that honesty is always rewarded, that virtue guarantees victory. Machiavelli's world was one where power ruled, not sentiment, where strategy beat sincerity, where cruelty, if used wisely, could be more humane than indecision. And that is what makes him dangerous. He didn't teach people to be evil, he taught them to stop being naive. He exposed the lies we tell ourselves about politics, loyalty, leadership, and about what it really takes to survive in a world built on manipulation. This is what they don't want you to understand, because once you do, you become immune to control. Today, we're going to dig into those forbidden lessons, and not just read them, but apply them, carefully, ruthlessly, intelligently. Because power doesn't belong to the loudest, or the kindest, or even the most intelligent. It belongs to those who understand the game, and are willing to play it without illusion. Machiavelli's most dangerous idea wasn't that people are selfish. It was that pretending otherwise is fatal. He wrote that men should either be caressed or destroyed, because they will seek revenge for small injuries, but may be paralyzed by total domination. In other words, half measures are dangerous. Softness invites resistance. Firm, decisive action, even when brutal, is often more humane in the long run, because it ends conflict quickly. Modern society teaches you to be agreeable, to compromise, to avoid offense. Machiavelli teaches the opposite. When it comes to power, clarity is kindness. Let your enemies misunderstand you at their own risk, but let your allies know exactly what you will and won't tolerate. Another forbidden lesson: appearance is often more powerful than reality. Machiavelli said it plainly. It is not necessary for a prince to have all the virtues, but it is necessary to appear to have them. You don't need to be good, only to seem good. People judge by what they see. And if they see strength, control, and confidence, they'll follow, even if you're flawed. This isn't deception for deception's sake. It's survival in a world where truth alone is rarely enough. This is the core of power, perception. Shape it or be shaped by it. And then there's the matter of love and fear. Everyone remembers the line. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. But they forget the context. Machiavelli wasn't glorifying cruelty. He was warning against the dangers of being loved without respect. Love is fickle. Fear is stable. A leader who is only loved becomes a servant to his people's moods. But a leader who is respected, even feared, remains in control, even when popularity fades. The forbidden truth: morality is flexible, power is not. You can't lead with a clean conscience in a dirty world. You can either protect your purity or protect your people. Rarely both. Machiavelli wasn't encouraging tyranny. He was exposing the cost of leadership, the real cost, and warning those too fragile to pay it. The weak will call it heartless. The strong will recognize it as reality. So what does this look like today? It looks like a world where sincerity is applauded, but strategy wins. Where the loudest voices cry for transparency, but the smartest operators move in silence. It looks like politics, corporations, social media empires, all running on Machiavellian fuel, whether they admit it or not. The influencer who curates authenticity, Machiavellian. The executive who fires kindly with a smile, Machiavellian. The activist who plays to emotion while negotiating backroom deals, still Machiavellian. The forbidden teaching here is this: those who rise to power do not always break the rules. Often they simply play a different game, a game where rules are tools, not chains. Machiavelli knew that waiting for perfect morality to win in the real world is like waiting for wolves to vote for sheep. It's not going to happen. So he offered a different path, not for everyone, but for those willing to see clearly. You don't need to become cruel. You need to become aware of how influence works, how loyalty shifts, how appearances deceive. And once you see the strings, you can stop being the puppet. That's the secret. Machiavelli's forbidden teachings don't turn you into a tyrant. They prevent you from being ruled by one. They don't make you a monster. They make you immune to them. And if you find this truth uncomfortable, that's good. Comfort is how they keep you asleep. But discomfort, clarity, that's how you wake up. So stop apologizing for wanting power. Stop shrinking to fit into a moral story that was written to keep you docile. Power is not evil. Power is neutral. What matters is whether you have it or someone else does. You were told to be nice, but the world rewards clarity. You were told to be humble, but the world listens to confidence. You were told to wait, but power belongs to those who act. Study Machiavelli not to mimic tyrants, but to protect yourself from illusions. Understand that real control begins with self-mastery. That charisma is a weapon sharpened by awareness, not flattery. That your image, what others perceive, is a currency, and if you don't spend it intentionally, someone else will. The forbidden texts don't give you a map, they give you a mirror. They don't tell you who to become. They show you what happens if you don't choose. Because without strategy, you are strategy. Without vision, you serve someone else's. Without power, you'll be at the mercy of those who do have it, and they will not always be kind. So read Machiavelli, study him, but more importantly, integrate what resonates. The lessons are not about control for control's sake. They're about reclaiming authorship of your life. Think strategically, speak carefully, act boldly. You don't need to lie, but you do need to understand that truth, unguarded, is a weapon others will use against you. You don't need to be cruel, but you do need the courage to be feared when necessary. And you don't need permission to lead, only the discipline to earn influence and the clarity to wield it. If you've listened this far, you're not like most. You're not afraid of uncomfortable truths. You're ready to see beyond moral theater and into the machinery behind it. So share this with someone who still thinks honesty alone will save them. Like this if you see the wisdom in difficult truths. Subscribe if you want more than surface-level philosophy, and turn on notifications, because this journey is only beginning. Remember, Machiavelli didn't corrupt the world, he revealed it. Now that you see it too, the question is, what will you do with that power?